Hi, everybody. This is Joe Maglitta, special correspondent for VentureBeat. So much promise in AI, so much velocity, so much industry activity, yet in a lot of cases, we're still not seeing all the benefits of that. We're going to be talking for the next couple of minutes with someone who thinks he's got an idea and some pretty compelling proof about how to get AI and data science to the next level of productivity. Yosi Taguri is head of Missing Link, a company that does something called lifecycle management. So Yosi, welcome. What are the fundamental roadblocks and where does lifecycle management fit into that?
So when you think about AI, you probably think about all the amazing things that we see on TV in the movies, right? And we think about smart machines that can make decisions instead of human beings. And it's supposed to influence us in so many ways, like autonomous cars or safety in the streets and security in the house. And yet we're not there yet, right? We're very, very slow to progress towards those goals. And there are a few reasons, like who is the usual suspect to build those machines, right? It would probably be a PhD that spends like maybe 10 years of his life in the university, which is a lot of investment, right? So we need more of them. There's not enough in the world. There's not enough. The demand for data science is impossible to meet. The second thing is, in order to build an AI machine that is smart and can make decisions, you need a lot of data. Now, we know that data grows very, very fast in the world. And even with the current sizes of data, volumes, it's very hard to manage and deal with. We don't have the technology that can deal with so much data. Now, while the big companies like Amazon and Google and Facebook realized early on that AI is on the critical path to success, they are what we call AI-first companies, right? Everything is done, almost everything is done with AI. And so we want to enable every company to be an AI company. Now, what does it mean to be an AI company? It means that you make very smart decisions based on your data, right? In the past, you would see companies coming up with algorithms that are making amazing things. They would coin, right, that they would take IP, they would build code, turn it into IP, right? That was their top secret stuff, right? And now you understand that there is a shift from writing code to actually manage data. The more data you have, the smarter solutions you can build. So basically, our solution allows companies to become AI-first companies by automating most of the steps that it takes to build an AI machine, right? If you think about a simple machine, let's say dogs and cats, how would you build that? Very simple. You take a lot of images of cats, lots of images of dogs, and you feed it into this smart machine. Usually it's a deep neural network, right? It's deep learning. And suddenly that model absorbs the knowledge of what is a cat and what is a dog. We're not explaining anything. We're just feeding it with data and saying, this picture is a cat, this picture is a dog. And suddenly, it learns what makes each picture a bit different. But you don't have all the pictures of all the dogs in the world, right? You don't have all the pictures of all the cats. You want to believe that you fed it enough information for it to infer on something that you do not know yet. Now, once you put that in production, you get a lot of new data, right? This is another issue. How do I handle all that data? Because that data is super critical for your success, for your improvement process. Now, what you need to do is, you need to take all that data, you need to feed it again. Now you need to tag it, you need to label it. This is all manual work. Human beings are sitting and tagging stuff. You need to feed it now so your machine can learn something new that it didn't know. You need to do it again and again and again, right? When you ask a model if it's a cat or a dog, it will not give you a definite answer. It will tell you, I think it's 70% a cat. Now you need to decide if it's good enough or not, right? So the more data you give it, the better confidence you get. It will never get to 100%. It's very, very hard. but it gets close enough, so close that it is better than human beings in recognizing images. Like I think it was 2016, where machines surpassed the human capability to identify images, which is something that we do, it's something that we do very naturally.
So let me stop you there for a second, because you've delved into a couple of really interesting things. So problem number one is that unlike in mainstream software development, a lot of the AI systems are being created by people who actually lack the background and the history to be able to do efficient software development. That's just not part of what their training is necessarily. So I'm wondering, we've got a lack of, we have not enough people. We have a lack of expertise or the ability to tap a tradition to be able to use best practices in software development. And on the other hand, we've got all this data. And even if the science is getting good enough to be able to be better than people now, to be able to recognize that, we still got this wash of data. So too much data, not enough people, and not enough process and discipline.
Yes.
Is that a fair summation of the problem writ large across AI?
Yeah. So if you think about, for instance, software development, for the past 40 years, we have adopted a lot of good practices and tools that allows us to be very efficient in how we develop software, right? You could see kids, 14 years old, sitting with a Mac at Starbucks and deploying things to the cloud, right? And they're 14, they don't know anything about history, right? And they managed to do it. And with data science, with deep learning, with AI, you get all those PhDs, very smart people that come out of the university, and they don't have good software development practices. So you could think about us as a platform that brings best practices from the software tools, from the software building tools, to the data science tools, right? We help them. We say, you do not need to know how you spin a new machine in the cloud. You shouldn't know, right? You should focus on the data. You should focus on your models. You should be able to run 500 machines in parallel without understanding anything about system operations or DevOps, right? We call it deep ops.
Deep ops.
Yeah.
So deep for deep learning?
Yeah, deep for deep learning.
Deep ops.
Yeah.
So as part of this, so again, Missing Link is the company. The product or the main overall offering is lifecycle management for AI. So what specific benefit does that bring to a company doing this kind of development? What are the specific metrics? And do you have an example, real world example that you might be able to share with us?
Yeah, sure. So I think the best benefit is that we're accelerating the time that it takes to develop an AI machine. And I'll give you one example. A company in Israel, ADOC, what they're doing is they're supplying a medical machine, a medical software that allows doctor to identify issues with your CT scan, right? Just imagine that they're transforming every doctor to be the best doctor in the world using something that helps them make decisions. They can alert them that something is wrong, right? So they claim that we accelerated them by 10x. Now think about a startup that just starts and needs to get into some results. It needs to get to market much faster. If we manage to accelerate them by 10x, they will go to market faster, they will raise money faster, they will touch many more patients in the real world and save lives, as opposed to doing something very, very slow without a platform. Like, as a software developer, I have many, many tools. As a data scientist, I'm using the same practices from 30 years ago, right? This is a problem, right? Let's take another customer, Nanit. Nanit has a smart baby monitor, right? So it can alert you if you have a baby. I have 4 of them, 4 girls.
Brave man.
And I remember when they were crying at night, I would jump like crazy and run for them. And the smart baby monitor is able to alert the parents and say, you know what? The kid just woke up. He's going to cry for 2 minutes, but he's going to fall asleep. Don't worry about it. Or please attend. He needs you, right? And so what we're allowing them to do is develop those models that identifies those patterns in a really large scale, right? They're growing, Nanit is growing like crazy, right? And the more customers they have, the more data they have, the more resources they need to deploy. So we help them. Their experience with them, for them with us, is the same effort that it takes them to build one machine. They can actually run hundreds of machines in parallel with the same manpower that they have today. So they don't necessarily need to recruit more data scientists. Now they have a tool that scales.
Very quickly. You also talk about speed and velocity of the process. So you can execute, a company could execute more tests more quickly.
Yes.
What is the business advantage of that? It seems obvious, but what typically is that?
It's basically getting to market much faster, getting results much faster. If building an AI machine is basically, it's trial and error. Unless you actually run an experiment, you have no idea if something would work. So you have to run many, many, many tests. So we scale you basically. So instead of running 5 on your own, let's take Zen City. With 3 data scientists, they ran 5 experiments a day. Now they're running 500 experiments a day with the same 3 data scientists, right?
So really, really compressing time, speeding things up.
Yeah.
Just finally, a word about your company. I know you have a relationship with Samsung. Can you explain that a little bit and talk about real quickly how you started and where you're out now, and if you're planning to spin off or stay within Samsung?
Yeah. So I started as an entrepreneur in residence at Samsung Next. And the idea is to take entrepreneurs that build a few companies and they want to build something else in a different environment. So they gave us really generous funding and said, do whatever you think you need to do. And so I've built one pager saying, what is the problem I want to solve and why it's now is the time. And they allowed us to do that. And after a year and a half, we started generating revenues. And they said, instead of spinning out, why did you join us? We're building a new team which is focused on building software and services that target the outside world, not just necessarily Samsung. So we're essentially teaching Samsung how to build software and services businesses. And we have this engine inside that allows us to grow a product through different maturity levels. So you start with an idea or a problem you want to solve, you build a POC, you get a signal from the market, then you mature to have design partners, and the aim is to convert them into paying customers. And once you have that, the challenge is to scale and have predictable sales. And once you have that, you go into world domination. How do you get more revenue sources from them? So we have product in each of those steps. And we feed that machine with amazing entrepreneurs that are solving interesting problems from the bottom, and we're growing them bit by bit.
Interesting product, interesting journey.
Yeah.
Yosi, Taguri, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.